Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Ty Blunt. How are you doing today?
Good, man. How about you?
Good, good. How was your Memorial Day weekend? How was your weekend?
Dude, it's fantastic. And my buddy had a bachelor party, so we had a good time either way. And how about yours?
Oh man, it went by quick. I kind of took like one day off to just kind of sit in the air conditioning and chill, and then it's like how it is. It was I sell on eBay, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's Monday. I got a bunch of packages to ship out. So that's where I'm at now at the post office. I just shipped out a whole back seat was full of that packages. So it's one of those things where it's the last minute. You put things off at the last minute, but that's the way it goes, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience in case they don't know who you are. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Definitely. What's going on, guys? My name is Ty Blunt, one of the co-founders of Hammock. My background's reselling. I've been reselling since the age of 14. Sold my first car, 1972 Mustang Fastback, a green color. So that was interesting. Been selling ever since. Sold cars and other handheld items and stuff. Paid for my college. Went to UCSB the first year, then ASU. Finished up at ASU. So just been reselling a long time. Jumped out to Silicon Valley for a bit. Learned the tech scene and jumped into a venture capital fund, basically doing ed tech startups. So was in the online game pretty early on that side. I came back. I'm like, I had to get a job, so I'm like, let's go back to reselling. So 2017, if you guys know Gary Vee, the Gary Vee 27 flip challenge kind of changed my life in that way. So went back to reselling full time. April 23rd of 2017. That year, did six figures on eBay alone, going garage selling, estate selling. The classic grind, right? Flipping everything from electronics to clothing to shoes. Did a shoe store, did electronics store. So I've been in the game for a while now.
Okay, Ty. So where exactly are you from again? What state do you live in?
Yeah, we're in Arizona. So that Scottsdale area from Arizona, born and raised in Fountain Hills. How about you, man?
I'm in Tampa, Florida at the moment. So
Nice.
weather is nice, but it just seems like there's a lot more traffic than usual. But hey, if that's the worst thing I got to complain about, I got a rough life. I'm telling you. So tell me, how did you get started into reselling at 14 years old? Was your parents resellers, or were they encouraging you? Or was it like one of those things where you're like, heck no, I'm not going out here and cutting people's grass, at 14, 15 years old to make a few dollars? Like, tell me, how did you first get started into reselling?
Yeah, so my dad did reselling at a smaller scale, definitely than I do right now. He sold some cars here or there, probably 2 to 5 cars a year, give or take. Usually older school cars. That's how got me into that. And then my first personal car, my actual driving car when I was 16 was a 1970s Cutlass Supreme. So I've been always in that old school car mentality. So just started from there. He kind of taught me the ropes, but on like the basic stuff, but to hit that scale and to really start making big money or good money was when I got after that. So from 14 to about 18, like the small stuff, everything from clothing, like your average day-to-day stuff, people give me stuff to sell. I'll just be always selling things.
Yeah, you know what? You remind me a lot. I don't know if you know who Casey the Rockstar Flipper is. You
Yeah,
remind me a lot
definitely.
of him. So if you get a chance to talk to him, like the way that you talk and the way that you operate, it's like because he lives here in Tampa, and I met him a few times. I'm like, you remind me a whole lot of Casey the Rockstar Flipper. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Maybe it's the energy. Hey, I want to say
Thanks, man.
hello to the ATL Flipper is here in the house. What's up, ATL Flipper? And I want to say hey to Angie Fram is in the house. She says, hey guys, if you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So we're live. So I got a bunch of questions for you because I actually did
Shoot,
a little
man.
bit of research on you. So according to this article that I read, first of all, we got to talk about this. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but we got to get into this. It says that you basically lived in a warehouse for 2 years. So tell us
Yep.
about this whole thing. True or false? What actually happened? Tell us this whole story here about what happened. We got to figure this out. We got to start from the beginning and tell us what the deal is with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll jump back in 2017. It started 2017 in a buddy's spare room, right? Renting out a spare room, started reselling. That led to my mom. I obviously, if you want to go the next step, you always got to go back one. So I went back and lived with my mom, built a shed in her backyard. She hated it. She hated it. And a college grad going back it's not a good feeling as a college grad, right? You want to be out of the house as much as possible. Did that for about 8 months. And I'm like, okay, I gotta leave the house, right? Like it's time to leave again. So went and got a 1,600 square foot warehouse, probably about 400 to 500 square feet. That was in office space. And then me and my dad actually built like a little home filled with a shower, a closet, a TV, a bed, every amenity you need, and obviously the bathroom in the office. But yeah, lived there for about a year and a half, and then slowly progressed that way. But it was honestly a great experience. If you read the article, it was definitely a fun experience.
Okay, so wait a minute. So you like built you a tiny home to manage your eBay business? Because I'm sure your parents were not thrilled with you having dusty junk that you found like from flea markets and yard sales and estate sales cluttering up their house. I'm sure they were just like, why can't this kid just play video games or watch movies like everybody else or play with action figures? I'm sure they weren't too thrilled about it. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, not at all. It was my mom's place, right? So she was not happy with it at all. I took up the whole house, the backyard. Like it was like 1 a.m. I'm out there photoing stuff with like the lights, and the lights were like by her room, so she'd see it. She was just not happy with it. But at the same time, she knew that I was trying to hustle, right, and trying to go the next steps. And that's how everybody has to do, right? You got to take the baby steps, right? You're not going to become an overnight success. It's the grind that's gonna add that up. But I took over a living room. Like you guys obviously know, you go garage selling in the States, those Friday, Saturday, you're just taking hauls. I would have it strewn all over the living room, and then I would take it either outside or downstairs, wherever I had my photo booth, photo it. And yeah, she'd come in and she'd just be like, "Yo, this is not happening." I'm like, "Come on, just give me a couple of hours. Like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." And then she calmed down a little bit, and then once she calmed down, I started photoing through, got everything outside or into like the storage location in like one of the smaller bedrooms, and went from there.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. We're just like, oh my gosh, what have you done? I'm just like, calm down. I'll have this all out of here by tomorrow. It'll be in the shed. You won't see it. And I'm trying to hustle. And then when I try to move everything out of there, it's a bigger project than what you had originally thought it was going to be. But yeah, for sure. So did you actually tell me about this warehouse? Were you actually staying there? Did you have like a little like bunk or mattress, or were you actually living in this warehouse? Tell us what happened with this warehouse that you had.
Yeah, I was actually living in the warehouse. So I lived there for about that year and a half. Basically, we built out a little miniature house in the warehouse section. It was right by the office door. So we actually took air vents and we put them into there. So I had AC. So it was fantastic. I had AC. I had a shower, like a full-on shower. Me and my dad, we tiled it. We did the whole thing. Made a little closet. Had a full queen size bed in there. It was big enough where you could slide around the queen size bed, and then my actual bed posts were right against the closet. So I'd have to sit on my bed to like get stuff out of the closet. No drawers, none of that. Didn't have enough room. Put some stuff underneath it, but we had a massive warehouse. Anything I needed would be in the warehouse, right? Yeah, so I lived there, and it was a great experience. It was right outside of a massive milk plant, so it did smell really bad some days when the wind was pushing that way. But honestly, I would highly recommend it. Just don't tell anybody you're doing it until after, because it's definitely definitely against code for sure. And you get all right. So quick tip: if you do this, right? If anybody does this, make sure you have a plan, because they will inspect the warehouse twice a year, right? So what I did is I had all those Costco bins, and like the inspector would come in and I would just slam all the Costco bins so it would block where you couldn't see anything. It would block the window so you couldn't see inside. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a dry storage, yada yada. And the guy was like, oh, sounds good. He's like, I'm like, do you want me moving this? He's like, no, it's fine, just let it be. I'm like, okay, thank you. My bed's behind there and I have everything in there. So it was a good experience though.
So I got a quick question. You may not want to answer this. What did your girlfriend think when she came by to visit you and you're like staying inside of this warehouse? Was she just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what? Tell me about what happened. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. So I saw a couple girls at that time. So like I would obviously be like, I'd preface them like, yo, I live in a warehouse. Like it's I'm not here to kill you. Don't worry. And then so she was okay with it. The girl I saw for a while, she's actually okay with it. But she, like, the comment she made is like, you're definitely a different person. I'm like, yeah, I figured that out so far, right? It's definitely unique. But It wasn't not a deal breaker. I guess you read the article. Yeah, the article was like, yes, definitely not a deal breaker. So it was good. It was a good time. Again, highly recommended for anybody that needs to save some cash and wants to grow their business.
Yeah, well, when you say that to a normal person, that's almost like me telling you, like, yeah, man, I live in my car. Like to them, they're just like, this guy is completely nuts. So let me say hello to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hello to my buddy Louis Moore III. Is here all the way from Germany. I wanted to give a shout out to Jim's Closet Gems. My brother is in the chat, bearded veteran. He has a quick question for you. He wants to know, did you have any issues with the zoning board, or did you have any issues with the government when they came by to inspect the place, or were you clear?
Yeah, I was clear because I hit it very well, but it was not up to code. So if you're not going to hide it and be kind of sneaky about it, don't let anybody know.
Okay, cool. I wanted to say hello to Esteban is here from Death Pile Destroyers, and we have Pika Resellers is here. He has a quick question for you. He wants to know, what is your best flip that you ever had, like on eBay?
Yeah, definitely on eBay. Okay, I'll give you two ones. Best flip I ever had in terms of dollar amount. I went into an old IBM manufacturer's like one of the engineers. He had these keyboards that were worth about $1,400 to $1,500 a pop. I bought hundreds of them for a couple of bucks a pop. So that was probably the best like big flip. And also I flipped everything from rare art, supercars, everything from R8. I've sold Renoirs, Modigliani's. I got those authenticated, so I've been in the game. Everything from auction houses to that as well. Also did in terms of like big scores as well. Amazon. I was deep into Amazon for a while. Did $1.7 million my first year on Amazon. Did basically buying massive things, buying on eBay, selling on Amazon. Picked up a bunch of electronics. It was like probably about 400, 500 units of these like hub cents. I bought them for about $50 and I sell them about $250 to $300 a pop. So those are always good flips as well.
Okay, cool. Now I have some questions for you. That was what I wanted to kind of lean into next. You do a little bit of what I would call online arbitrage, and you would shop and buy stuff online. Like what I do, for example, I'll buy big wholesale lots of merchandise. Maybe I'll buy 100, 500, 1,000 items at a time, maybe Blu-rays, DVDs, CDs, whatever it is. And I'll buy them wholesale where I have 40, 50 cents a piece, $1 a piece tied up in the item, and then chop them up and then sell them off retail prices. Well, what we were doing was buying stuff on eBay that was undervalued and then turning around and reselling it on Amazon. So can you talk a little bit about that strategy? Like if someone is not familiar with that, and kind of explain your whole like tactics and your strategy with this business model.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good question. So on that is basically buying low, selling high, like we always do, right? So if you take these marketplaces, there's a bunch of data, right? So what we're doing is we're scraping all that data, finding and then just comparing it from eBay to Amazon, right? So you can actually find more because if you take your 24 hours of your day, right, you only have so much time in your 24 hours, right? Going out and sourcing or processing through items is pretty difficult. But if it's just data, right? If it's just ones and zeros, you can take that data and be able to turn it at a higher rate. So what we're doing is we're running about 5 to 10 VAs in the back end, actually from my other co-founder, Sid. That's how we kind of got together with this thing. And we started having them run just cross-examining what products would sell best and then start buying them at scale, right? That business, we did about 16,000 units. Average sale price is about $140, $150. So we're just moving a bunch of products. And it would only sit in your Amazon warehouse about 47 days. So it's a fast turnaround. So basically just go on one to other. You could do it with any other marketplace as well. We were doing Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, shipped, OfferUp, shipped, anything that was shippable.
So how did you decide what items to pull the trigger on when you're looking at it on your screen and you're like, hey, I could buy this item for $50 and maybe sell it for 150? Like, what was the criteria that you were looking for?
Yeah, good question. So anything that I can make 35% or more in terms of net margin, right? That's probably what the bottom line was. But we average about 2 to 3x on average on that kind of stuff, and how fast it would sell. We don't want to hold anything for longer than 60 days, maybe 90 days, unless it's a great buy. So velocity of items, margin, and then sale price. The small ticky-tacky stuff we're not trying to get into. It takes too long to process through that stuff. So we're looking for larger end flips, right? Our minimum buy was probably $25, $30 in terms of actual sale price. Obviously, buy that at $5 to $10. So there's probably the three things I would look for. And so same thing today, right? It's like it depends on how you're trying to scale your own time. You can either go by higher volume, which you have to hire out, right? Or you have to go by higher dollar amount. Those are the two things you have to look for. So personally, if I do eBay flips, I work with trust still for my middle company, from going garage sales to we actually did estate and downsizing company. And these trusts still hit me up, right? These large trusts. I'll deal with the high end stuff because it takes me 20 minutes, not 20 minutes. For 20 high-end items, it takes you a lot less time, and you maximize that profit based on your time. So it all depends on how time and your VAs and how much you want to actually be able to process those items through.
But when he says net profit, he's minusing his cost of goods, and you're minusing like your fees and all that out of there as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. So 35% is pretty low, but on Amazon, it's good margin actually. But yeah, so it'd be like, let's say I buy a product and it sells for $100 and I buy for $50 with fees and shipping, everything in combined from eBay to me and out to Amazon and Amazon shipping fees. I want to make 35% of what my total cost of goods would have been. So if you look at just 50 times 0.35, that's what we're looking for at like what my minimum actual net profit I would want to make, because you need to scale. One issue happens though is once you're doing about it depends on much cash flow, but I maxed out all my credit cards, about 200,000 at one time, credit card debt and PayPal debt, like hard money loans. And you like, so whenever you sell product, obviously you guys, if you're real estate, you definitely know this side is when you more you buy, the less cash you have on hand, but the more your actual sales go up, right? The more money you start making. So there's a trade-off. Next, you have to solve for the bottleneck of how do I solve for the cash issue. Once you hit by that 30 to 40,000 a month, that's when it gets really difficult, even with credit cards and with PayPal and all that jazz.
Okay, yeah. And so when you were saying earlier, that's kind of what I talk about a lot, is that when you're selling on eBay, you can either have one business model where you sell a high velocity of items, where you have a high, number of items that you list, or you're going to have to sell higher ticket items on your store and maybe have a smaller number of those items listed, but they're higher dollar amount items. So it's like, I might have to sell 10 items for $10 a piece versus your eBay store. You may be able to just sell one item for $100 and still make the same type of margins that I'm making, but I have to sell 10 times as many products. So I wanted to ask you a question of when you were talking about your Amazon business, because most of my viewers mainly resell on eBay. How did you transition from eBay to Amazon, and how did you go from 0 to $1.7 million on Amazon? And what was your business strategy? Were you doing wholesale? Were you doing retail arbitrage? Kind of flesh that out a little bit. Talk to our audience about how that works.
Yeah, definitely. I'll kind of preference before that. So what we're doing is downsizing a estate company before we transition to eBay, right? So we're taking all these items, doing a downsize and estate sale, and taking the high-end items and selling them on our eBay, right? It's a good cash flow for sure. So from transitioning from that to eBay to Amazon, basically I was looking at different products, right? I was saying, okay, this one guy tried to buy these Weight Watchers calculators for me, right? If anybody is looking at eBay to Amazon, this is actually still a good product. You could sell on eBay, you can sell Weight Watchers calculators for $20, whatever it may be at a time. I sold like 40 of them, right? And it didn't make any sense. I'm like, where's this guy buying these? These things are not going to be used. They're not going to be distributed. And they're probably buying them for something else. Check Amazon, sure as heck, they're going for $65, right? So I just took those, obviously canceled that sale, took those and then sell them on Amazon. And then you start going down that as well. So that was kind of the transition. And I would only do what I call marketplace arbitrage, taking from these third-party marketplaces and then selling them back onto Amazon. It's by far the highest margin, because if you look at an average store, so let's say Walmart.com, there's only so much product that they have inside that store. And if they want to liquidate it or get rid of it, that's when usually OA comes in and buys that product. They've liquidated it between all the stores. So what happens right there is it takes that a product that doesn't have much volume on Amazon, that's why the price is higher, and then pushes it down, right? Race to the bottom, as everybody says. But with marketplaces, it's actually completely different. Kind of the beauty of marketplace arbitrage. Basically, you can take it. Everything's moving, right? It's actually a physical marketplace. I look at it as like the vision I have is if you ever seen movies like the Sierra marketplace, where everybody's selling their own goods, right? It's always constantly changing. So basically, you can go down and say, okay, Weight Watchers. If I'm going to sell Weight Watchers, I'm going to go down there, right? And I'm going to look up all Weight Watchers that are all calculators along those lines. So that's how I started transitioning, because downsizing a estate business, taking these large 6,000, 10,000 square foot warehouses, huge ups and huge downs. You can still do it on the side if you know how to like leverage that time. But it's just start transitioning. You're going to have a slump though. Whenever you're trying to go up, you're going to have a come down, right? So we kind of cut off the downsides in a state business. So it was definitely going down. We would still get some clients here or there, but wasn't as fruitful as before while we're trying to do the eBay to Amazon business. So it takes that time. That's kind of the way I would look at it as well. But if you're on eBay, like the best thing is to focus on how can you maximize your time. You kind of said it when you're talking about with how you can either go with volume or price. It's all based on where you source from, right? It all comes down to where you source. It's not really how it's not really comes down to where you're buying. It comes down where you're buying the product, not really where you're selling it that much, unless you want to like move to the marketplace. But if you're on one specific marketplace, it comes down where you're trying to buy that item. So for us on downsides and states, we're going to these trust lawyers, right? Whatever it may be. With other things, eBay to Amazon, we're going to eBay. We're buying it on eBay because we see the end marketplace is going to be Amazon. That was kind of so. Did I answer the question, I think?
No, not really. But I wanted to ask you another question. It's kind of off the wall question. When you go online, let's say I go online and I look online at a website at Walmart or Target or Best Buy, and I want to buy this item, and I go to the store and they don't have it in store. Do you think that Walmart and some of these big companies like have like a drop shipping method, so to speak, where maybe they don't actually have the product on hand at their store and maybe they have it off-site in a third-party warehouse somewhere, and then when you go online and you, like, for example, I wanted to buy an office desk recently, right? So I wanted to go to Walmart and buy it, and I went to like 3 different Walmarts. Nobody had it in stock, and they were like, you need to go online and order it and then have it delivered from the warehouse to the Walmart. And then I was like, well, by the time I do all that, I could just go on eBay or Amazon and click it and order and have it shipped to my door. Why do I want to go online to your warehouse or your building and do that? I wanted to come here because I thought you guys had it in stock and I could pick it up and have it assembled and delivered the same day. So what do you think happens behind the scenes with these big Fortune 500 companies when it says online, it says they have it in stock, but they don't actually have it in stock inside their brick and mortar location?
Yeah, definitely. So they are dropshipping, right? They all have centralized locations where they're housing all this inventory at, right? And the hack they're doing, so like the last mile is the most expensive by far. Any sort of like, as resellers, we know like shipping is going to be your main cost. Doesn't matter how you look at it, it's going to be your main cost. What they're doing is they're actually taking, so like they ship to and from, right? So they ship product to that location and then they take the excess returns and ship them back, right? Happens over time, right? So they need to have to and from. So basically they're piggybacking on their already infrastructure, saying you want to order that desk, you can order it to the store. We're going to use that distribution and we're going to come back to the store with that distribution. So it can be the same price. Because the issue is like if you've got Amazon and all these things, again, shipping is the most biggest cost. They're not going to make any money. Their margins are so slim that they have to either charge you for shipping or now they're trying to do 2-day, but for a desk, it's pretty hard.
Well, I'm just using that as an illustration because I was looking for this particular office desk that I was looking. It was like a black L-shaped office desk that I wanted to have for my office area. And online at Walmart, they had it for like $120, right? Mm-hmm. So I logged in on eBay and they had the same exact thing. It was the same exact everything, $87 free shipping to my door. And then what the thing that kind of gave me pause was the photo. Because the photo that they had posted on eBay and the photo on Walmarts.com was almost identical photos. So I was like, wait a minute, because when you're a consumer, you don't notice it. But as a reseller, you're like, okay, time out. There's something fishy going on here. Why is it that this particular website is supposedly 2 different companies? Why do they have the same exact stock photo for the same exact item? Walmart is supposed to be the low price leader, but yet they're charging me, $30 more for the same exact item. And then I still have to go to the store and pick it up. Whereas on eBay, it's being delivered right to my door because I don't have a pickup truck. I don't have a van or a U-Haul or nothing like that to haul it home. So I was like, well, I'll just order it straight online on eBay or Amazon and have it, have them deliver it to my house. So that way I don't have to look like an idiot trying to tie it down to the roof of my car, So do you actually think that with their distribution center, they run something very similar to that?
So they actually don't. They're trying to get away from using third parties. Just like they're trying to be everything on their own sites. I don't think they are, but there's definitely some drop shippers that are in there. Either they found a comparable product that Walmart has and just buying it cheaper, or buying it from Alibaba, shipping it into a distribution, and then they're shipping out there. But there has to be drop shipped, right? There's a bunch of drop shippers out there that are looking to squeak some like 10-20% margin. If they can make money, they'll post on there and then just house it. If you wanted to, you could probably even see where it's coming from, right? So you can buy the product. and then see where it comes from, because they're not changing where it's coming from, right? So you'll see if it's from Walmart, it's from Amazon, it's going to be shipped through that third party there, or some other person. You'll see it on the packing slip where it's coming from.
Okay, cool. We're live. So let me say hello to a few people. I wanted to say hey to Regina. I saw your video on Instagram yesterday, Regina, your cooking video. I wanted to say hey to Friendly Taha, if that's how you say your name correctly. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. I wanted to say hello to Calorie Seller Louise. And I wanted to say hey to Zach from Utah and Bot and Going. He was on the show last week. If you have questions for our guests, drop it in the chat down below. Now, you kind of speak kind of fast. Can you slow it down a little bit so we can hear what you're saying? So now, if someone is, let's say they're selling on eBay and they're considering maybe possibly expanding to Amazon, and you said like within your first year, you went from 0 to, let's say, $1.7 million of gross sales. That's not profit. That's gross sales on Amazon. I think I saw you on Instagram and you had like almost 1 month where you did like $200,000 in gross sales. Talk to me a little bit about that, because you have to kind of explain it. This, when someone is an eBay seller, it's kind of different, kind of compare apples to oranges. So kind of explain what your journey was like when you first started on Amazon, what got you started on there, and do you have any other tips or tricks or advice that you can recommend to our viewers?
Definitely. So the best way to start from eBay is doing the basic stuff. So usually taking those used items that you're finding and then selling them on Amazon. Make sure they're tested 100%, because Amazon does not like anything not tested, and 100%. They're very customer focused. So I would do that number one, right? Go to garage sales, find some used stuff, start selling it on Amazon, package it, make sure it's tested, and get it out to FBA. I would only use FBA. And it's what 200K wasn't the top month. We did about 250 in January in terms of MRR, monthly recurring revenue. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so that's the easiest way to do it, is start even with books, right? We see a lot of book sellers that come on. Books, I like used goods because there's a lot more margin in used goods by far. So you can start either with books, used goods, something that's easy to pack, easy to ship, get the hang of Amazon all the time, right? So I love Amazon. Amazon's a big player, but they are very strict on what they are looking for. So make sure it's good product. If you're going to say it's a used condition, very good. I would even say it's used condition good. Make sure you underplay it so people won't look will like, oh, it's actually in better condition than it is. Those are probably the first two things. But I do completely love eBay to Amazon still to this day. It's still one of the powerhouses. I've helped people for free as well make about 100, 200K. I think I did some post on that a couple days ago. My buddy actually just broke 90K. Basically, it's looking at finding products that you're selling that you sold on eBay or that you can see on Amazon that's sold, and just compare, right? Apples to oranges, and then make sure you get it in its condition that it is, right? So again, first step, do use and then go to books.
Okay. I kind of, me personally, like I'm just on eBay at the moment, and I kind of want to grow my store. Do I get to the point where I'm consistently doing, 10 grand a month in sales on eBay before I jump on try Poshmark or Mercari or any of the other platforms? Because the buyers are on the platform. There's 187 million buyers on the eBay platform. The buyers are there. I just kind of want to like master and get like my black belt in eBay before I jumped in to start trying these other platforms. So I think with most people, they should try that, because you said you started on eBay and you were there for many years. You said you started reselling at 14. So you were kind of on the eBay platform for many years before you kind of diverged into other platforms and selling on Amazon. What kind of products were you selling on Amazon to do $200,000, 200K in gross sales in a month? Like what were some of your bread and butter items that you were selling?
Yeah, electronics are always a good one, but they're gonna have a higher return rate. So you're in about 20% return on electronics. That's how the cookie crumbles. We were doing about 99% new products. We have people that we've helped out do only used as well. Both work really well. Home goods are fantastic. You can do knives. Knives still sell. I still sell some decent knives that people hit me up about all the time. Those are probably the big ones. And industrial and scientific. I think industrial and scientific is it's a category inside Amazon. That's probably one of my favorite one as well that you can really start hacking into. And office supplies, office products, basically anything we could find. It was on most categories.
So were you getting these products straight from eBay and then shipping them into Amazon, or were you maybe buying wholesale accounts and then buying items wholesale and then sending them into Amazon as well?
Yeah, so we were only doing eBay to Amazon. So we actually never did any wholesale because the one issue we have with wholesale and private label, I think of it as a bazooka, right? You're shooting in the dark, but you can get one big grenade that's it's gonna make you a bunch of money, right? But it's very hard, especially if you're not from Amazon. I don't recommend private label. Wholesale, the margins are so slim. I'm not a big fan. I like heavy margins, to be honest, especially if you're trying to scale. So like on our margins are we usually we're probably about 80 to 90% of like the actual cost of goods. So we're almost doubling on average. I love those margins. And you can only find those margins doing marketplace arbitrage because it's in the gray area. Full disclosure for everybody, it's in the gray area. Amazon does not like marketplace arbitrage for new items. Used items, you're on the clear. But full disclosure, it is in the gray area for Amazon to do this stuff. But that's where the money's made, right? If you're trying to make killer cash, it's in the gray area, or trying to find those one-off suppliers. If you're in eBay, we talk about all the time. If you're in eBay, the biggest thing is to find a great supplier that can really make you a lot of money. I love trust companies because that's where it has a lot of cash underneath them. And trust companies hit me up to sell on high-end goods, right? Figure out who the supplier is and then be able to manage that supplier. That's where you make those big killings and you make those big chunks of change.
Yeah, it's really important to have build relationships with people. We were just talking about that last week because those relationships that you build over time, you're going to be able to come back to these people week after week after week, month after month after month. So it's really important to kind of build relationships with people. We have a question here in the chat. He wants to know, which electronics are you talking about in particular? Can you give us an example of 1 or 2 or 3 items that you would resell?
Yeah, definitely. Let me see if I can find them. So a good one, again, full disclosure, you will get an IP complaint on this one. So they're gonna attack your PR. This one, I used it up way too well. If you look up PetSafe, you can do full disclosure. If you want the easiest hack to make money right now, you can do probably about 15 to 20 days before the Voorhees complaints start piling up. But you can do PetSafe 900 remote trainers. If you check that out, it sells about 500 units a month. I was buying them at my time. Again, we kind of started this thing. I was buying them for $40. And I was selling for $170. Again, PetSafe 900 trainers, all PetSafes work. But again, full disclosure, you will get Voorhees pretty hard, but you can do it till 3 to 4 Voorhees before they really start getting mad about it. But it's an easy way to make 10 grand relatively fast if you're doing that. But check the price. When I've said that before, it started tanking the price pretty hard. Bogan TPU 250s as well. Those are also a good one. Those ones used, they still work really well. Check out the used price on eBay. Check out the the used price on Amazon. You can double your money pretty easy on that one. It's all over the place. I love it as well. There's so much out there across the board.
So you currently both sell both on eBay and Amazon at the moment?
I stopped selling, please. So I sell a little bit on Amazon stuff that still comes to me. I still get home goods from a supplier that just starts it's too easy for me to pass up. But we're fully focused on what we're doing right now. On eBay, again, trust companies hit me up. One recent one is I got about 20 units, about $300,000 to $400,000 worth of product. I'll deal with that because it takes me less than a day, right? Put it on auction, sell it, and then I do it on commission. I don't pay out cash for those. You can check out my commission on witheasenow.com. It's how I did a downsize in the States. You can copy that. You're more than welcome to copy that as well.
Okay, we got a bunch of questions here in the chat. Retro Games wants to know, do you guys sell video games and how is it going? Do you sell video games on your eBay and Amazon store or no?
Yeah. I sold on both, right? eBay to Amazon video games work really well. If you're ungated from Nintendo, Nintendo's still fantastic, honestly, used or new. I know a couple of guys that are selling used video games, Nintendo games on Amazon from eBay. They're doing pretty well. One guy did about I think close to $1 million last year doing that. I think he was tiling into eBay and OA as well. But video games are fantastic. They're very, very fast movers, but your margins will be a bit slimmer.
Yeah, I actually just shipped out some video games. I just sold Max Payne 2. Some guy bought 2 copies of Max Payne 2 on the PS2, and I probably had maybe 50 cents or $1 tied up in it. And they sold for, I don't know, it wasn't a ton of money. It was like $10 a piece, but they went to the same buyer, so it kind of saved money on shipping. So, you know, it wasn't a ton of money, but yeah, I sell a ton of video games. And what I do, you know, it's fun going to garage sales and estate sales and thrift stores. But I would check out pawn shops. In my area, for whatever reason, if you go check out pawn shops, you can go there and they'll sell you PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii games for $1 a piece. You just walk in there and they have it posted on the wall, and it's like all the video games start off at $1. So I mean, I've resell so much that I don't have to sit here and scan each individual barcode. I just grab like 30 or 40 of them and start piling them up on the counter and then go check out, because I know in my brain, without having to sit here and scan every one of them, I know in my brain, I'm like, okay, if I sell each one of these for at least $10 a piece, I got 50 of them on the counter. Worst case scenario, I should turn my $50 into $500 worth of merchandise, because some of them are going to sell for 15, 20, 30. Matter of fact, I just sold this NASCAR game 2 days ago. I got it at the thrift store for $1, and it was still new in the shrink wrap. And it was Xbox 360. It was like NASCAR Unleashed or something, and it sold for $30. I paid $1 for it. So there's no shortage of merchandise. You just got to get out there and hustle and look for it. So he says, I will subscribe, no problem. Thank you. Calorie Seller Louise is here. Thank you for that. He says, video games are gold at yard sales because most people don't know what they have. Yeah, I just noticed that a lot of these thrift stores and a lot of these places, they're starting to raise their price. They see the word video game on it, and it's hard for me to pay $3 at a thrift store for a video game that I may be able to sell for $10 on eBay. There's not enough margin there for me. But if I can go in there and buy them in bulk and say, hey, I'm buying 50, 100, 500 of them at a time, then that's where you're going to get margins. I had one about a year ago. I think I bought about 850 video games at once, and I paid 54 cents a piece for them. So when you're buying them in high volume, where you're paying 50 cents a piece, that's where you're going to go and, and start making your profits, is buying stuff in bulk. He says, I do. Go check me out. Calorie Seller Louise says, yes, I picked up 20 video games, $10 at a yard sale. One game sold, paid for the whole lot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, if you can find them. He wants to know, Ty, do you have a YouTube channel? You talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. I have your channel link down below. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, definitely. Check out Hammock. Hammock will be the YouTube channel. I also have my personal one as well. It's going to be under LaCroix-Online Arbitrage. I don't post too much anymore of those. Everything's going, again, we're pushing everything towards that Hammock one. More than welcome to check it out. We have a lot of great tips. I've personally made multiple people 6-7 figures online. So, and everything's free on that side. All that advice is free, and hopefully bring as much value as possible.
Yeah, I have it linked down below. We have a $2 super chat from Diamond Ghost. He wants to know, what is this trust company? Can you elaborate a little bit on this trust company, on how this works? Because we were talking about earlier about building relationships with people. Can you talk a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, Diamond Ghost, 100%. Good question, by the way. What a trust company is they house people's like massive wealth. So what happens if, let's say I have $100 million, I give it to a trust company, they're going to put it into a trust, and that trust manages all of that assets, right? So what these trust companies do is, somebody passes or somebody wants to downsize, the trust company goes, hey, Ty, we have this high net worth individual that has rare art. My recent one was rare electronics. We have about $500,000 worth of rare electronics. Do you want to come and give it a quick checkout, make sure it's all good, make sure it's tested, all that stuff, and do you want to sell it? I go, sure, why not, right? And so those are the easiest way. I usually do. Trust companies are fantastic. Anybody using this, and estate lawyers. Those are the two that are going to give you massive flips. Kind of example, we got into this 10,000 square foot house before. It had about $300,000 to $400,000 worth of product, right? We obviously took commission on that to sell it. Highly recommended if you guys are trying to go in that downsized trust game. But it all depends on what you guys sell and what you guys are looking to do.
Yeah. Also, I haven't told anybody this before, but try to build relationships with people that do estate sales, because like where I'm at in Florida, people pass away all the time, and they have a ton of merchandise left over at the end of the estate sales that they're kind of stuck with that no one wants. And occasionally they may hit you up or send you an email or text message to say, hey, we have a whole bunch of this stuff in this house. You know, we've got to going to put this house up for auction and sell this house. We got to get everything out of here. It's for free. Come by and pick it up. So, I mean, just stop by there and build up relationships with these people. You know, it's nothing. Don't be embarrassed to tell people what you do. Just say, hey, how you doing? I'm a reseller. This is what I do. And you start building relationships with these people, especially if they're in your local community, because you're going to see them and run into them from time to time. We got a quick question here from Utah and Bot and Going. He says, hey, Ty, are you a one-man team, or do you have people helping you with your resale business?
Yeah, definitely. So when I was in 2017, when I first started, it was a one-man team for a bit. The downsizing estates, we had about a 3-man team. And then eBay to Amazon, we had a 3-man team as well. Right now, we have about 200 people on the Hammock team right now.
Okay, awesome. Now, we have a quick question here. He says, I sell a lot of Texas Instrument calculators on eBay, and it seems the same guy always buys them. Do you think he's flipping them and selling them for more on Amazon?
Most likely, yeah, definitely. That's what you used to do as well. All those offers that you get on those, like, so there's different things that are very, very liquid, right? Look what liquidity of an item is. Those offers are usually people like me, and people I've taught mostly, that are going to be offering on those things. And you can also look on offer up shipped as well if you want to flip Texas Instruments on Amazon. Great place. It's kind of hidden.
Yeah, I sell a lot of media items, and so like I'll sell DVDs and I'll get them for 50 cents a piece at the pawn shop, and then I'll turn around and resell them for 10, 15, 20 bucks on eBay. And I have this one guy, and he buys from me almost every week, and I know that he's buying them from me at my eBay store to resell them on Amazon. But when you first start on Amazon, you're gated in the DVD category. So I'm not mad at the guy, because if I'm buying an item for 50 cents and selling it for 10 bucks, that's still a 20x on my money of what I paid for the item and what it's selling for. He doesn't argue with me. He usually pays 9 times out of 10, he'll pay full asking price, but it's a repeat customer. And I know he'll, let's say, buy an item for me for, let's say, $10, $15, and then he'll turn around and resell them on Amazon for, let's say, 30 bucks. So let's say he bought it from me for $10, then he's going to sell it on Amazon for 30. Amazon's going to take their fees. They're going to get $10. And then he's going to turn his $10 into $20. So everybody's happy. That happens a lot. Retro Games says he's actually in Arizona as well. He says, I just bought 400 retro games yesterday. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, if you just go out there and look, there's deals out there to be had if you just go out there and look. He says, you guys are good. I will definitely subscribe. I will talk to you guys later. I'm glad I found your channel, eBay Addicts. Hey, thank you for coming by. Yeah, we have new videos that drop every week. So thanks for coming by. And also check out Ty's channel as well. Eblis says, Utah, he says, buy and back calculators. He says those are what we've seen as well. Those two are that we've seen. Yeah. So Ty, now we got you on the show. Talk a little bit about what your business is and what it is that you do, because you said you have a team. I actually think the first time I saw you, you were on with Chris from Daily Refinement. And so talk a little bit about that, because when I first saw you, I was like, I don't know if this guy, Ty, is legit or not. And I was like, well, he's on with Chris from Daily Refinement. So let's at least give him the benefit of the doubt. So tell people what it is that your company does, and tell them how you can benefit and help other resellers if they want to grow and expand their business. Because, there's 3 things that I talk about a lot: is you're either going to run out of time, you're going to run out of space, or you're going to run out of money, the capital. Those are the 3 choke points that you're going to have, where you're like, okay, I don't have any more money to invest in my business. I literally don't have any more hours in 24 hours in a day, or I don't have enough space to store all my inventory. So can you talk a little bit about what it is that you and your company provide? Maybe I'll have you back on again sometime. We'll talk just about that. But go ahead and talk about what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, definitely. So Hammock, basically you give us 3 to 5 photos. We'll list online for you, cross list online for you, all that jazz, right? We're looking to change the game here. So that's kind of the big thing, right? Our whole goal is to minimize the resellers take. I've been there so many times, photoing, cross-listing, having to count, do all this random stuff. Only thing you should be focusing on as a reseller is sourcing and getting photos in, right? So that's what we're trying to solve. You give us 3 to 5 photos, we're going to do the rest for you, right? We have VAs and we building tech as well on top of that to then automate those processes. We're trying to automate every process in the reselling handbook pretty much online. So that's kind of what we do right now. So give us some photos. We'll build out those listings for you and post them on different marketplaces.
Okay, so explain how that works. So I just I don't have any items in front of me, but let's say if I had a video game, for example, would I just take a photo front and back, and then they're going to fill in all the item specifics? Because you have a team, I think it's 200 VAs that help list items for you. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So exactly. So let's say taking a video game, do the front, back, and now do even the inside to make sure that the sleeve's there. Our team is going to go into your eBay, right, through the Hammock platform, and then list on that eBay account for you. And let's say you want to cross-list it to Facebook Marketplace, we can do that as well, right? The thing we're trying to solve is having you as resellers take up more time than is necessary to actually scale your business, right? I'm all about scale. That's how I built my companies beforehand. That's what we're fully focusing on: automation.
Okay, so elaborate a little bit more on that. So basically, you're basically hiring someone to be an eBay lister and help you list items. So if I wanted to list a video game or CD, whatever it is, clothing, shoes, hats, whatever it is, you would basically take a couple of photos and then you would send them in to your company, the VA, and then they would go ahead and like, will they go ahead and draft everything for you, or they just kind of fill in the blanks and then you still have to go back in and put the price of what you want to list it for and then hit publish? Like, explain how that works, because like I said, you're kind of like, you only have so many hours in a day and you're kind of delegating some of your reselling business to a third party. So explain how that works, for where we can understand how this process works.
First off, great questions. Those are definitely everybody's asked, right? So we're going to do the complete listing for you. It's everything from pricing, title. If you follow some of our clients as well, like Renzi, Chris, Flip the World, all those guys, we actually increase impressions as well. We've increased impressions by 2 to 3x, right? 200 to 300% more, right? Just by the SEO that we're building out as well. So we're going to fill it top to bottom what you need in that. So title, price, item specs, how you want your shipping done based on different items, right? And all these things we're automating as much as possible. Our goal is to automate, get those listings up by just a few photos.
Okay, so you could send in 2-3 photos, and then the VA will kind of fill in the blanks for you. Now, how quickly or efficiently? Because this whole idea, the whole concept is to save you time, so you have more free time to go sourcing and do other things. So, explain how this process works. What is it that the VA does, and what if the VA calls in sick or doesn't show up to work that day? Like, what happens?
Definitely. Those are the things that we're solving as well, right? So what the VAs do, you're going to send those photos in. Our VAs are going to check those photos and then search them on whatever website you want to sell, right? Do the soul cons, basically everything that you've learned, I've learned, all that stuff, and fill out the title, price, shipping, all that stuff in between, right? Just with those photos. We have our own staff, so there are our own offices right now. COVID's hitting pretty hard right now, but we have our own office that everybody sits in, right? They're all NDA, they're all that stuff. So if one turns out to be sick one day, right, we have somebody to fill in those places, and we'll let you know as well. And also we have a US staff that is checking these items now too, which we just released. You're the first person to let everybody know. We're actually adding in US staff for that same price of $1.45. So you're getting somebody to do all the manual labor and somebody in the US to actually check that stuff. Makes it kind of a no-brainer, right? And it's a 12-hour turnaround, so it happens overnight. We're going to be shooting for that to be down within a couple hours within the next few months. Again, our whole goal is to make this as automatic as possible, so you get those up, so you get that feedback loop up pretty quickly.
Okay, and so you said talk a little bit about that. You said that it's $1.45 per item, and is that just listing on eBay, or does that include cross listing to multiple platforms? And what happens if you're like, well, hey, this particular item is sold on eBay, but you guys have it listed on 5 other marketplaces? Will they go back in and delete it so it's not cross-listed on multiple platforms? Because that's one thing that I hear from people that cross-list. They're like, hey, I have these pair of shoes and I listed them on Mercari, Poshmark, eBay. They have all these 5 platforms that it was listed on, and they're like, oh crap, these items may have sold on eBay, so now I have to go back and spend all my time and energy circling back around and hit these 5 other platforms that the item sold on and go back and remove it. And when you get to the point where you have 10,000 items, that is such a pain in the butt to have to go back and do that. So explain how that works.
Yep. So I'll turn to the pricing first. So it's $1.45 for the main listing. That takes up a bunch of time. And then it's 45 cents per cross list, and then it's 10 cents to delist, right? So we actually can delist those products for you as well. And again, the more automation we build into, because we're building a lot of automation via tech, the cheaper those prices are, right? Our whole goal is to make this as good value as possible, right? We're not looking for short-term cash. We're not even looking to make money on this stuff. We're looking to scale this to the moon, so that you guys get the best prices possible, right? So overnight turnaround, $1.45 for the main listing, 45 cents right now for the cross listings as well. So we'll also delist for you, right? So if you have on 3 different sites, we'll take it down from those sites as well. Right now it's a 12-hour turnaround, basically when our staff is engaged right there. But we're trying to even get that down even smaller as fast as possible. So that's kind of like what we're trying to shoot for. Again, 1, speed we're looking for, and 2, automation. Try to get those listings up, scaled out, and then be able to help increase your guys' sales and take up less time throughout your day. Because we're seeing right now people are spending I think it's 30 to 40 hours a month as a reseller, just taking photos and doing listings. Actually, just listings alone, right? Taking up too much time. We're trying to solve that problem.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody that you mentioned, Chris from Daily Refinement, Renzi, Flip the World, I've had all those people as guests on my YouTube channel before. So nice. I know all the people you're talking about. I was like, yeah, I know Ryan and Lindsay. I know Chris from Daily Refinement. I had him on my channel twice. I had Flip the World on twice. So everybody you mentioned, like I'm pretty much, I guess you would call it friends, or I've had him on guest list, all of them on my channel. eBliss Reseller Solution says Jeff is 100% correct. Resellers will eventually run out of money, space, or time if they don't outsource mundane tasks such as listing and shipping. So you guys can actually help handle the listing portion of it and help them do that. And if they want to kind of allocate and have it listed on multiple platforms, you can do that. And you can also go back and delist those items after they sell. So kind of explain. So do they give you like their username and password and they say, hey Ty, here is my eBay store, here's my information, and then let's say I send in, I don't know, let's say I send in 10 items that night that I'm just like, hey, I want to do this on a trial basis. I take photos front and back or whatever of 10 items. I send it into the VA, and you're saying the VA will have it up and listed on the platform within 12 hours. So explain how that works and what happens if someone screws up, because I don't want to admit it, but that does happen because I've actually worked for companies in the past as an eBay lister, and stuff does happen, where maybe there's a typo, maybe they type in the wrong color, maybe they put Adidas and it was supposed to be Under Armour, maybe they put in the wrong price. Explain how that works if they screw up or make a mistake. Because you said you have a second set of eyes that double check the listing. So explain how this whole process works.
Yeah, so we have 3 sets of eyes now. So what we're shooting for is we're trying to get down to that perfect listing. That's what we're going for as best as possible, right? So with that, it does happen. First and foremost, it can happen. We're more than happy to refund that as well. Our whole thing is to get those drafts out to you in a good form that you can give it a quick check if you want to. Some of the clients that we've actually gotten to 7 figures now, what they've gotten so comfortable with us, right? That we just push them live directly. So we either use permissions or eBay token. Those are the 2 things that we use right now to be able to do that in terms of hook up to your eBay account. So it's either or, right? But it goes to your drafts. You can then review them. But once you get comfortable with us and you like how we work and your VA is dialed into what you want, the one big thing is everybody's listings are so dramatically different that it's going to take some time to make that perfect, right? How everybody lists is it's never cookie cutter, right? And we don't want it to be cookie cutter because your business is your business and you want to structure it how you want it to be structured, right? We're just here to help save you time and make you some more money.
Well, and the idea too is you're able to clear up people's death piles. If they have a bunch of merchandise that's been sitting there for 3 months, 6 months or whatever, that you can make money on it if you just got it listed. And either you're not motivated to do that or the stuff just sits there and you're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. And you just have a pile, like I call it a money pile. Like I had some used CDs that I didn't want to list the other day because it had like a little barcode on it and it had a price sticker on it. And I didn't feel like scratching the price sticker off. And I went and listed a pile of them, and 2 of them sold within a week just because I was like, all right, I'm going to take the time out of my day and scratch this little price sticker off and list them, and then they're going to sell. So that's what I always tell people, that if you list the items, they're going to sell, and you're going to be able to help clear up clear up people's death piles and help them, churn and burn and make more money. And once they get those items listed, they're not spending their whole day in their room, locked in the room listing items. They could go out and go sourcing more and do the fun part of reselling, right?
That's what we're shooting for, right? And I to this day, I don't know any company that's in the reselling space that has gotten more sellers to the 6 and 7 figure range that we have. And we focus on completely automate those processes, right? You kind of hit on top of the head. Sourcing is the biggest thing, right? That's what we talked about earlier in this call, going after those trusts if you want to go after that rounds. But like our whole goal is to help you guys source more and to list more and get that online. Like that's a whole focus, right? And if that can be done and you can scale that, right? It goes down to numbers. If you can break down numbers, it becomes very easy to scale and hit that 6 and 7 figure mark.
Yeah, something that I say a lot, guys, is that, you make money on the buy, not when it sells. It's the same way in real estate. Like when you go to buy an item to resell, you're making money on the buy, not on the sell, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you hear ka-ching and you're like, oh, great, this item sold for $29.99. But in reality, if you bought it for $25.99 and sold it for $29.99, there's no margin there because you're taking out your cost of goods, your fees, shipping, and all that. So you're making money on the buy, not on the sell. So if you can go out and hunt and get this merchandise and actually get it, that's where you're making the money. The other part, I would say, like the actual listing and taking photographs, that could be like a $10, $11, $12 an hour job. Like what you're specialized in, like what you're like the best at is sourcing and finding good deals. Like that's what it is that you're like or to do. That's where people say it's the fun part when you're out at thrift stores or yard sales or estate sales hunting looking for treasure, because you have that trained eye to identify that. Whereas the average person, they may walk right by this merchandise. They don't even know what's valuable. They don't know what's valued at. They would be there all day scanning barcodes trying to find one thing that's profitable. And you can see it from 50 yards away. Hey, I see those pair of shoes right there. Those, look, get them, So if you can help automate your business, because there's only so many hours in a day, and if you can help automate your business, the idea is if you can get more items listed, you're going to make more sales. And also, if you can cross-list them on more platforms, you're going to get more eyeballs on those items, which in turn should be able to generate more sales because you're getting more eyeballs on your items that you have listed for sale. So, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me today, Ty. Tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram. I have your links down below, but go ahead and tell them where they can check you out at.
Yeah, first off, thank you for the invite. It's been fantastic talking to you, man. Like, I hope we can do this again in the near future. And you can always check me out. My personal is Ty_Blunt Instagram, and then Hammock on YouTube and Instagram, Hammock app on Instagram. Check us out, follow us. Again, if you're looking to scale, you know who to come to, right? First off, watch these videos that eBay Addicts puts on, because you're gonna learn a lot. Second, if you want to come check us out. Again, thank you for the time.
Yeah, no problem. I have all his links down below if you want to go check him out. Follow him on Instagram and YouTube. His channel is down below. I'm a subscriber of his channel. So you go by and check it out. You might learn something. And also, you guys do live question and answer. So if they want to come and pick your brain and ask you questions, you guys do that as well. eBliss Reseller Solutions, he says, the amount of time saved outsourcing the listing and shipping equates to approximately 80 hours a month, which is $10K a month extra. If you use that time to source, it's a no-brainer. And that's what you actually said when you were on with Chris from Daily Refinement, right? That you guys could actually save somebody, approximately 80 hours a month of listing time. Can you talk about that real quick before we let you go?
Yeah, if not more. So a kind of a cool case study. We took a shoe reseller. It's not Ryan and Lindsay, but somebody in that group area. We took them from $30,000 a month to $118,000 a month in 5 months, right? And what they've taken, they were doing it themselves as individual photographers and listing it themselves, right? They had about 3 to 4 people helping them out. We took that and we helped them train. Now they have 5 listers on the back end, or 5 photographers on the back end, and we do all listings for them, and they ship out in their warehouse as well. And that's how they got that scale, right? So think about 5 times. So if one person on average is about 40 hours a month, just baseline reseller, times it by 5, we're saving them 200 hours a month just on listing, right? That's our whole goal. Save you guys time on the listings portion, because listing brings no actual value. Sourcing does. You hit on top of the head. We as resellers, we're great at sourcing. That's what we like to do anyway. So focus on it, right? Get rid of the other stuff, somebody else. I go automate, outsource, do it yourself. Those are kind of the 3 things that I look at all the time, but save as much time as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's like I was just saying, guys, the actual listing portion, taking photographs and listing on it, like a monkey could do that. That's like a $10 an hour job that anybody can do. The skills, like you want to use your time and energy on where it's going to be best and most efficiently used. So I want to give a shout out here to the Mo Reseller Knit stop by. I wanted to say, hey, the Death Pile Destroyers is here. We have a quick question here from Diamond Ghost. He wants to know, what is the one item that you bought to flip and it flopped? So you got this item, you thought, hey, I'm going to make a ton of money on this item, and then it didn't turn out that well. Do you have any quick stories you could tell us before we let you go about it?
I got one. You guys are gonna love this one. The only time eBay and Amazon did not work, I bought these things called Wink Hub 2s, right? You can look them online. Basically, before they got like the software was starting to degrade, right? I didn't know it before. I spent about $25,000 on about 400 units of Wink Hub 2s, right? Come to notice, their software just got destroyed like a month after. Sold a decent amount with, but I probably lost close to 20 grand on it, but in the scheme of things is not that much, especially when you're doing volume. But that was one that definitely did hurt pretty hard. It was not fun.
Well, it's just called learning experience. So anyways, guys, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us. Go ahead, Ty, give us your final thoughts, and then we'll let you go, man.
Scale, guys. The biggest thing is get those volume up, right? And continue focusing on sourcing. Find those suppliers that you are going to love working with, that you can buy stuff dirt cheap, or you can buy it on consignment, and just focus on suppliers, right? That's all you guys got to focus on. Hand off the rest of the stuff. It doesn't have to be to us, right? It might be if you want to, right? But get it off your guys' hands as much as possible. Find somebody that knows what they're doing, and then follow those paths down the line. And check out eBay Addicts. He has some great advice.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Yeah, we have new guests on every week, so I will see you guys later on this week. Thursday, I have eBay Poshman will be on. So if you guys want to learn more about what eBay Poshman does, how he buys items at Ross and Marshalls and buys stuff, brand new items and turn around and resells them on eBay. He's a full-time reseller, so I will see you guys then. I'll see you guys on Thursday. You guys have a great day. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys.